Hi everyone, in today's Biblical Cities of the Holy Land video, we will take a look at the city of Caesarea Philippi. The city of Caesarea Philippi is located in northern Israel at the southwestern end of Mount Hermon. Little is known about the earlier Old Testament history of the city, though it is speculated that it could have been the Canaanite city of either Baal-Gad, which is mentioned in Joshua chapter 11 verse 17, or Baal-Hermon, which is mentioned in Judges chapter 3 verse 3. The city's history, however, becomes more sure during the Greek period, when it became known as Panias or Panias. The modern Arab name of the site, Banias, derives from the old Greek name. The Greek city was named after the half-goat, half-man god known as Pan, who was the god of flocks, shepherds, forests, etc. He was worshipped at the location for many centuries. The worship of Pan was focused upon a natural grotto and spring from which one of the sources of the river Jordan emerged in ancient times. The waters of this spring originated from the melted snow and ice that was found on nearby Mount Hermon, and it flows down the mountain to emerge at the location. However, due to later earthquake activity after the New Testament period, the spring is now located in front of the grotto, rather than in it. These natural caves with springs were often considered a gateway to the underworld in ancient times. In fact, animal sacrifices were apparently cast into the spring in honor of the god. The remains of different temples to Pan, the nymphs and other gods, and the worship that occurred at this location is clearly evident at the site. In 198 BC, a battle was fought near the city, which resulted in the northern Greek Seleucid Empire gaining control of the region and the city, from the southern Greek Empire of the Ptolemies that was located in Egypt. By the time of the New Testament period, the city had come under Roman control and was renamed Caesarea Philippi by the vassal ruler King Herod Philip, known as Philip the Tetrarch in Luke chapter 3 verse 1. This was done after 4 BC in honor of the Roman Emperor Augustus. Previously, Philip's father, Herod the Great, had built a temple to Augustus at the site after 20 BC. When the emperor gave the territory to Herod the Great. The name Philippi was added to the city to both distinguish it from the Roman capital of Judea, called Caesarea Maritima, which was located on the coast of Israel to the southwest, and also in honor of King Philip, who made it his royal capital, which is demonstrated by evidence of a palace structure being discovered at the city. Later, the city was renamed yet again to Neronius by Herod Agrippa II in an attempt to win favour from the Emperor Nero. The Roman generals, who were also father and son, and who would both become emperors, Vespasian and Titus, stayed at the city with their armies during the Great Jewish Revolt of 66 to 70 AD. After the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, Titus celebrated his victory at the city by sponsoring gladiatorial games which utilised many of the Jewish captives from the war. After the 1st century AD, the city's name reverted back to Panias. The city became the most important in northern Israel during the 1st century AD. Not just due to its religious significance, but also because of its location near several important ancient highways. It was also located in a land that was very fertile, and the reliable water source from the spring also encouraged growth. However, after the New Testament period, the city began to decline over time, though during the Crusader period, a fortress was built at the location. Though by the 20th century, only a very small Arab village remained on the site of the once important city. The city is only mentioned twice in the New Testament, in Matthew chapter 16 verses 13 to 20, and Mark chapter 8 verses 27 to 30. However, the site's connection with Jesus' life and ministry is extremely important, as it was in the vicinity of the city that Peter made his famous confession in Matthew chapter 16 verse 17 that Jesus was the Christ, the Son of the living God. Matthew chapter 16 verse 18 then reads, "And I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." It is of note too that Jesus mentions himself as being the rock. The Greek word behind the English word rock in Matthew chapter 16 verse 18 is Petra, which means a massive amount of rock. The sense of the word's meaning can be seen in the fact that the famous city of Petra in Jordan was named such because it was built almost entirely into the very rock of the mountainous landscape. One reason the Lord apparently used this word here when speaking to his disciples about himself was because the city was built beside a massive outcrop of rock where the grotto of Pan was located. Now compare this to the name Peter, which was given to the apostle by the Lord Jesus. The name Peter is based upon the Greek word Petros, which is similar to Petra, though means a far smaller piece of stone, when say compared to Petra. Jesus was therefore stating that he was like the massive rock that was located at the city of Caesarea Philippi, whereas Peter, when compared to Jesus Christ, the Son of God in the flesh, was a much smaller, though vitally important part in the Lord's plan, and that this importance was based upon Peter's belief and confession that Jesus was the Messiah and God in the flesh. It is of further note that later in Matthew chapter 16 verse 18, when the Lord states that the gates of hell shall not prevail against it, the Lord appears to have in mind the famous gateway to hell, or Hades, or in other words, the grotto to Pan, that was located at the city, where he said these words. The Lord here appears to be indicating that the progress of building his church and the resulting spread of Christianity and churches across the world would not be stopped by the defensive measures. Remember, gates are a defense measure, not an offensive measure, which would be set up by the devil, paganism, or its many different forms of idolatrous worship. In other words, the Lord's work and plan will be victorious, and nothing can stop it. Therefore, this ancient city and the things that are located there, both natural and man-made, is of great importance as they help to shed some important light on the context of what Jesus was trying to say and teach to his disciples in a passage like Matthew chapter 16 verse 18. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe for more videos every Friday.